Today, when most people think of ancient Rome, they often place it alongside ancient Greece as one of the founding pillars of democracy. It is widely believed that the Roman Republican government represented a society that championed individual freedoms, allowing its citizens to vote, pass laws, and actively participate in governance. However, how accurate are these beliefs? Can we genuinely regard the Roman Republic as a democracy? And was life during the Republic truly more equitable than under the rule of the emperors? This video explores these questions, analyzing Rome's political system, its strengths, its flaws, and its legacy. Rome's governance, a perfect model. The Greek historian Polybius, who lived in Rome as a hostage in the 2nd century BCE, famously attributed Rome's dominance in the Mediterranean to its well-structured governance. According to him, Rome's mixed constitution combined elements of monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy, forming a perfect system that balanced power and minimized internal conflicts. This, in turn, enabled Rome to focus on expanding its influence outward. Polybius described the government as being divided into 3 branches, each designed to check and balance the others. The first branch represented executive authority, split between 2 consuls rather than being concentrated in a single ruler. The consuls served for 1 year, shared military command, and could veto each other's decisions. Additionally, a 10-year gap was mandatory before a consul could run for the position again. This system ostensibly prevented any individual or group from accumulating excessive power, ensuring a rotation of leadership and ideas. The second branch, according to Polybius, was the Senate. Made up of Rome's wealthiest and most influential citizens, the Senate functioned as an advisory body. While it lacked formal legislative powers, its influence was significant. It ratified decisions made by consuls, providing a further layer of oversight. This allowed the aristocracy to participate in governance without monopolizing authority outright. Lastly, Polybius highlighted the Roman assemblies as the third branch. Comprised of ordinary Roman citizens, the assemblies were seen as a revolutionary feature of governance. They allowed the populace to gather, vote for laws, and elect representatives, symbolizing a rare trust in the collective wisdom of the people. According to Polybius, this structure created an equilibrium, allowing Rome to avoid the pitfalls of pure monarchy, aristocracy, or democracy. The reality behind the facade. Although Polybius' portrayal of the Roman Republic influenced many Enlightenment thinkers, such as John Locke, Montesquieu, and James Madison, modern historians offer a more critical perspective. While the Republic's institutions appeared democratic on the surface, a closer look reveals a system heavily tilted in favor of the elite. One of the key institutions Polybius admired, the Roman assemblies, illustrates this imbalance. Although the assemblies allowed citizens to vote, they could only convene at the discretion of the consuls or other magistrates. Ordinary citizens had no authority to assemble independently, and meetings were often called only to pass laws or conduct elections. Furthermore, strict rules governed these gatherings, limiting citizen participation. Unlike the Athenian assemblies, where every citizen could speak freely, only the presiding magistrate had the right to address the Roman assembly unless he chose to call on someone else. Unsurprisingly, these speeches were often one-sided, with magistrates using the platform to promote their own policies or supporters. When voting took place, citizens were restricted to a simple yes or no, without the ability to propose amendments. Even this process was subject to manipulation. If the outcome did not align with the magistrate's goals, he could annul the results and demand another vote, as occurred in 201 BCE when opposition to a war with Macedonia was overturned after a revote. Wealth and influence in voting. The Roman assemblies were structured in a way that further skewed power toward the wealthy. For instance, the Centuriate Assembly, responsible for electing top officials and declaring war, was divided into 193 voting blocks. However, these blocks were not distributed equally among citizens. The wealthiest Romans, including senators and equestrians, controlled 98 of these blocks, more than the majority needed to pass decisions. By contrast, the poorest citizens, who made up the bulk of Rome's population, were grouped into a single voting bloc. Additionally, the wealthiest blocs voted first, and once a majority was reached, voting ended, often leaving ordinary citizens without a voice. Rome's tribal assembly, which ostensibly grouped citizens based on geography rather than wealth, suffered from similar inequities. Politicians manipulated voting districts to dilute the influence of the lower classes, ensuring that wealthier citizens dominated decision-making. Moreover, rural farmers often lacked the resources to travel to Rome to cast their votes, further reducing the political power of the lower classes. Compounding these issues was the absence of secret ballots until the late 2nd century BCE. For centuries, votes were cast publicly, exposing citizens to potential coercion or retaliation if they voted against powerful interests. The role of the Plebeian Council. The Plebeian Council, composed exclusively of non-aristocratic citizens, offered a theoretical platform for lower-class representation. Led by tribunes of the plebs, this council was meant to protect the rights of ordinary citizens and challenge abuses by the elite. However, over time, tribunes often came from wealthy backgrounds and prioritized their own advancement over the interests of the populace. As a result, the council became yet another arena dominated by elite interests, leaving the Roman poor largely unrepresented. Corruption among magistrates. The magistrates who held executive power, including consuls and praetors, were also predominantly aristocrats. Despite rules limiting consecutive terms, influential individuals often found ways to bypass these restrictions. Gaius Marius, for example, served as consul an unprecedented 7 times, showcasing how power could be concentrated in the hands of a single individual. Similarly, laws prohibiting senators from engaging in commerce were frequently ignored, leading to conflicts of interest and further entrenching the influence of the wealthy. Far from fostering unity, the fierce competition among Roman aristocrats for political office often resulted in policies that prioritized personal gain over public welfare. This internal strife contributed to the eventual downfall of the Republic, as ambitious leaders like Julius Caesar exploited these divisions to consolidate power. Polybius' perspective. An outsider looking in. Given the stark disparities between the idealized version of the Roman Republic and its practical realities, why did Polybius portray it so favorably? One reason may lie in his status as a foreigner observing Rome from an external vantage point. As a Greek historian and hostage in Rome, Polybius admired the city's meteoric rise to dominance and its ability to maintain order and stability amid a vast and diverse population. Although he lived in Rome for over a decade, his access to the inner workings of its political system was limited, leaving him reliant on observations and the narratives of Roman elites. This distance likely shaped his perspective, allowing him to focus on Rome's successes while minimizing its systemic flaws. Polybius may have viewed Rome's governance as a contrast to the instability and factionalism he witnessed in Greek city-states, further fueling his admiration. By idealizing the Republic as a balanced and functional system, Polybius overlooked the deep-rooted inequalities and manipulation of power that characterized its political institutions. His account, though influential, serves as a reminder of how external perspectives can sometimes romanticize complex realities. The legacy of the Roman Republic. Despite its flaws, the Roman Republic's institutions left a lasting legacy that continues to influence governance systems worldwide. Key aspects of its political structure, such as the separation of powers and checks and balances, became foundational principles for modern Western democracies, including the United States. These mechanisms were designed to prevent the concentration of power and promote accountability among governing bodies, ideas that resonate strongly even today. However, it is crucial to recognize that the Republic was far from a true democracy. The political system was deeply skewed in favor of the wealthy elite, relegating ordinary citizens to a limited and often symbolic role in decision-making. The Republic's history serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of systemic inequality and the unchecked accumulation of power by a privileged few. While the Republic achieved remarkable feats, including territorial expansion and cultural development, its internal contradictions, rooted in political corruption and social disparity, ultimately led to its decline and paved the way for the centralized authority of the Roman Empire. This transition highlights the fragility of any political system that fails to address the needs and rights of all its citizens. Thanks for watching, folks. If you've learned anything today, it's that ancient Rome wasn't the democratic paradise. Some thought it was more like a toga party for the rich. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon because, unlike Roman politics, here your opinion actually counts.